evidence started coming in that really there was a lot of natural immunity after COVID recovery. And by October of 2020, when we wrote the Great Barrington Declaration, I believed the evidence was overwhelming. We wrote a one-page document aimed at telling the public that we had grave concerns about the lockdowns and that there was an alternate strategy available, a strategy of focused protection of the vulnerable that would have worked better to improve the health of the world. We wanted to reach regular people with it, to let people know that it wasn't true that all scientists agreed that we had to follow the lockdown policies we've been following. Almost overnight, hundreds of thousands of regular people signed it. I started getting my inbox flooded with people thanking me for writing it, some people not thanking me for writing it. Then there was tens of thousands of scientists that signed on as well. It was clear we'd written something that was touching a lot of people. At the same time, I started getting calls from reporters that were asking me why did I want to let the virus rip through society. That had never crossed my mind. I didn't want to let the virus rip. I wanted to protect the vulnerable. Like I was getting people accusing me of wanting to do eugenics. There was just like this sort of undercurrent of slander, which I didn't understand, from mainstream places.
I thought that when it was published, it would be received by the public and that would change the discourse. Unfortunately, that was sort of the opposite of what happened.
Let's not worry about mitigation. Let's just let this virus rip.
Don't wear masks. Let children get infected. Let everybody get infected.
I will call them fringe epidemiologists who really did not have the credentials to be making such a grand sweeping statement.
Just protect the vulnerable. That is nonsense. And anybody who knows anything about epidemiology will tell you that that is nonsense and very dangerous.
There was initially a lot of interest and it garnered, I believe, 16,000 signatures. But it was also met with great hostility from people like Anthony Fauci of the NIAID, Francis Collins of NIH. They spoke in public about the scientists as fringe epidemiologists, which was absurd. I mean, these are some of the top epidemiologists in the world. And there was a concerted effort coming from the pages of the New York Times and other mainstream left-leaning publications to make it sound like the product of some far-right think tank, which is the farthest from the truth.
It was a very strange thing. It felt like there was a propaganda campaign against it. And later I learned that, in fact, there was. Francis Collins, the head of the National Institute of Health, had written an email to Tony Fauci, the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, which was revealed based on a Freedom of Information Act request, that Sunetra Gupta, Martin Kulldorff, and I were fringe epidemiologists, and he asked Tony Fauci to find a devastating published takedown of the premises of the Great Barrington Declaration. That was the basis, I think, for the press attack. They were following the lead of Francis Collins and Tony Fauci. They engaged in those actions because they wanted to create an illusion of consensus that does not actually exist. They wanted to tell the public that all the scientists, all the smart people agreed, this is what we have to do. But that was false. I knew that was false.
Now we know the censorship of the Great Barrington Declaration wasn't simply a choice on the part of mainstream media outlets. We know that the federal government coerced tech companies and pressured them to suppress it so that the American public wouldn't hear about it. The Facebook page for the Great Barrington Declaration was taken down. YouTube videos of the scientists talking about their views were taken down. And a lot of people thought for a while that it was the tech companies doing this on its own. Over the last couple of years, it's become clear that the federal government has been behind a lot of this.